Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Mel Hambelton Ford. My name is Phil Nightingale. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
Boy, it's a beautiful day out there.
Yeah,
Isn't
it is. Sunny and
Dang
70.
Sunny and 70 somewhere,
It
just
is,
not
yeah.
right here in the big city, Wichita, Kansas, or in the state of Kansas, I guess you could say, right, Josh?
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, it's a call-in show, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything in the automobile world, anything in the racing world. We don't care. We'd love to hear from you. 316-462-3673. And let's get the phones ringing. And we get a great price package by over $130 for each and every car. And Josh, as always, what's in that package?
So we're going to mail it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on your vehicle. You'll also receive yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the big corner. You'll receive complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer for your tires. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, 316-462-3673. That's the number to our front desk. Just tell them you want to get patched in the podcast with your questions so you can get this great prize package. And love to hear from you. 316-462-3673. Anyway, Josh, what happened to our nice warm weather? Did you run it off?
It'll be back.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It'll be back. It is Kansas. Just wait.
Well, I should be sitting in Hayes, Kansas, doing our little split screen with you, Josh, but we had a little rain out at Salina last night. So here I am back in Wichita. We come flying back here, and I guess we're going to Hayes. It's pretty chilly out there in Hayes, and we'll have to figure out how to keep that old car warm tonight, but I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but we're going to figure out a way to get it going. So, so yeah, here we are back, and we'll see what happens next Friday at Salina and see if we can do something good. Jake, for a change, drew pretty good for a change.
So that was going to be my next question, or one of the questions to you is, how's that work? Now you've rained it out. Do they make this up? Do you go with the draw that you already had, or none of that's mute and you start all over again?
Well, they can do whatever they want, but what I think they're going to do, because they told us all to save our pit passes, so I think what they're going to do is they ran, I don't know, I wasn't keeping track, 3 or 4 heat races before they canceled it last night. So what I'm thinking they're going to do is just continue the show.
Start off from there.
So they told us to save our pit passes and stuff to get back in next week. So I hope they're just going to take the same existing show and go. Now, they could just wipe everything clean and start over again and redraw and go again, but I hope they don't.
As somebody that drew a better, yeah, I can see why you would want that.
I want to stay right where it's at from that part. So being the first show of the year, that's how they do it. It's a draw show. Then after that, it goes to what they call a points average, how you average the finish. And then they invert the top 10 off of that. So not sure I like that top 10. I kind of like a top 2, maybe not top. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, from that part. So I hope that's what they do. But again, Tommy Hendricks, it's his decision, what he wants to do. And I know he'll make the right decision on what he's going to see fit for the best for the racing and the crowd and stuff like that too. But it sounds to me like they're going to just continue the show where we left off at. And so then the next question is, if you weren't there and you show up, I guess they just take and put you in the back of a heat race somewhere because of how you drew, how everybody else was ready drawn.
Or then wait till raining
and just huge. So I'm going to tell you, I found out of there, hit McPherson, got a little bit of wind going and stuff like that, and then turned and Mountain the side drift on that truck was incredible, but never got a look of rain.
Yeah,
never got any rain. It was kind of crazy. So I don't know if you're quick enough to not have to. Hey, good morning, Del. We're watching us on a 65-inch screen. That looks like too. So anyway, yeah, we'll head to Hayes tonight and high 47 in Hayes. How about that? You're cutting out at times. Not sure what's going on. I bet it's that 65-inch TV.
It's sunny and 70. That's what's going on.
So anybody else, let us know if you see us cutting in and out. We'd love to know that before we can get Gus, our IT guy, to get on and get that fixed.
They're wondering if that's audio or visual.
Yeah, true. Anyway, good morning, Doug. Thanks for joining us. Everything else too. So yeah, anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how to get the car a little warm tonight. High of 48 in Hayes today. And it's never got any wind out there at Hayes either.
Yeah.
So anyway,
kind of open and flat out there for sure.
Exactly. So anyway, I want to kick off the show, Josh. We got our first 23 F450 Super Duty in, and it's a Lariat. It's not. That's usually a couple trim levels down from what I usually order for our pull trucks and stuff, but that's all we could get in for. So it was good to hook onto my truck and with that new truck. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't know how they could make a Super Duty better. But I'm telling you, this thing rides. It's quiet. It handles. Even Jake looked over and goes, "You're not even driving that thing, are you?" It was so easy to drive and handle, except in that wind. Of course, whipped everything around from that standpoint. But excuse me. Anyway, the technology in that truck too. It's got heads-up display.
Oh, really?
Yes. So you can see your speedo. You can see your turn signals. You can see the outside temperature. If you hooked your nav up or whatever, it's giving you the directions of the nav where you're going to be.
Yeah.
The lane keeping, it's in there for you, so you kind of know where it's at. And I'm going to tell you, that's another thing, that lane keeping with that trailer on there works flawlessly. It is so. They've done such a fantastic job. Now, where I'm going to really got blown away was when I first turned on my turn signal.
Oh, and you get to see the sides of the
You
trailer.
turn your turn signal on. In the screen jumps up if you're turning left, the left side all the way down the trailer. And there's a camera on the bottom of the mirror that shoots down that trailer. And I can't tell you, that is so cool to know where you're at, what you're doing, especially turning corners or whatever. But even just on the highway, passing cars and whatever, and veering back in and stuff, it's crazy how good that is.
Very cool.
But I haven't stomped on it. Of course, this is the high output, 1,250 pounds of torque. God almighty.
Get things moving.
Yeah. So anyway, I haven't stomped on it yet because I only got a couple hundred miles on it. Jake thinks I need to wait till 500, but I probably do need to wait till 500 if I jam the throttle to kind of see how that 1,250 pounds of torque is going to be versus 1,000. So another 250 pounds of torque and stuff too. But I will tell you, it's crazy pulling the hills and stuff where the other truck may be downshift one time. That one didn't even attempt to downshift.
Not happening
from that part. But again, I can't believe how great that truck rides, how it handles. It's amazing to me how much better they've made those trucks. And I just, like I said, I couldn't think they could make a better truck than what they made with the 22s. But man, that 23 is hands down a night and day difference truck from those.
So options wise, from limited or platinum, what are you missing?
I'd have to go study that up because that's even Jake was kind of asking the same thing last night as we were driving along. Is it's got the heads up display, it's got all that stuff. But I think there's still some technology with the trailer because I can't get, maybe you and I can sit down and figure that out to get the blind spot monitoring all the way to the back of the trailer. Like when I hooked up the trailer, I mean, it popped up on the screen, hey, trailer, name your trailer. And I had to give the dimensions of the trailer, the length, height, and width, and weight and all that kind of stuff. So I think there's probably some other settings in there too, but I still know there's some technology with the cameras and stuff that's not there yet because that's part of the high end stuff that's coming in the King Ranch Platinum and in the limited on that standpoint too. But I don't know. I have to go down and study all the stuff that's missing because there's pretty cool for what we got so far.
Yeah, I know they were here this week doing Super Duty training. Did you have a chance to sit in on?
Man, I never made it on one of those. Like too many irons in the fire. I wanted to sit in there and stuff like that too. And all the sales guys were very excited what that guy taught them and what they knew and everything else too. And so far we've got, I don't know, 15 or 18, something like that, of Super Duties in here. They're starting off with the base XLs and XLTs, and now the Lariats are coming. They're saying job 2 is when they're going to start building the King Ranch Platinums and Limiteds, and that's just right around the corner for that part. And I got a bunch of orders in the system for those, so can't wait to see those trucks once they get.
Yeah, they're definitely starting to roll in from that side of things, but it's been a long time coming on that new Super Duty or just Super Duty in general, for sure.
Yeah, so it's like I said, we took off out of here with it yesterday, and I still could not get over. Of course, I come out of that XL 350 that I was driving, and that had, I don't know,
I think 40,000 miles,
something like that. Yeah, and she did a great job pulling the truck too, and everything else too. But it's just night and day difference from that 21 to this 23. It's just 10 times different from that part too. So. Anyway, hey, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries. You want to talk about that Super Duty, we'll talk about that too. But hey, want to hear from you. Anything at all. We love to give away this price package or, sometimes even a diagnostic too, right?
We have been known to do that. So
just a few times, right? So
I got a question for you, or a question for the listeners.
Okay.
What what is your experience, or have you had any experience for state mandated like vehicle inspection?
Oh.
And then what's your opinion? Do you think that's something that should be implemented or not? And so I go back and forth, and this is kind of a lead-in question because I've got some more stuff to go
I'm sure
along
you do.
with that.
I know you do.
But initially, my personal thought on that is what I hate to see is in this industry. I think that there is an easy out for just about anything. So I think that there's somebody out there, if there was a state mandated inspection, that there's a shop out there that would probably fill out an inspection without even seeing a vehicle.
Yeah.
From that side of it. And so, and then the other side of it, to a consumer, to have to pay for something like that, I would rather see them take the money and put it towards whatever vehicle repairs that they would need.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that to have to pay money annually every year to have somebody inspect your vehicle just so the state, I guess, is understanding that it's safe, doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But now on the flip side of that, I do see where people let things go. And,
Oh, yeah.
they shouldn't be driving it. And, when you choose not to do something to your vehicle, at some point, it's not just about you or your budget. It's about every other motorist that's out there on the road.
Being safe.
And being safe for them. And so, I just
it's like
looking for opinions on state inspections and what people's thoughts are of that.
I don't know if everybody saw that video on Facebook. I've seen it several times where this truck is driving down the road. It's a lifted truck with some big old wheels and tires on it. And then the left front tire comes off, veers in the other lane, and a small SUV type car hit that tire, went underneath the car, and flipped that car. So naturally, what happened to that truck? There was something definitely badly wrong with that truck, and I can't believe someone didn't notice it driving it down the road, how bad it had to be happen for that tire just to shoot off. But think about them people in that car. I don't know if they were really hurt or they weren't or everything from that part, but it did. That tire shot off from the left front, went in the other lane, and a car hit that and rolled over the top of that tire, and it flipped and rolled that car.
Yeah, I promise you that there was a noise, or there was a feeling,
something,
or
handling,
there was a performance issue to get to that point. And like I said, at some point, you can pass these things along for so long, but then at some point, it's not only about you or your vehicle, it's about every other motorist on the road, and keeping them safe. That's totally unfair to them that you choose or want to ignore that.
Yeah. Anyway, Delbert says it was a Kia Soul. I thought that's what it was, but I wasn't 100% sure from that part. But you're all right, just keeping everybody else safe out there from your part too. Now I'm going to go back into the state inspections, because back in my early days of being a tech,
Kansas had that.
We had it, and I can't tell you how many of those state inspections I did. But what was funny about it to me was, yes, I did the right thing. I filled out the forms correctly. I inspected the cars. We had to pull brakes had to be checked, the tire dips had to be checked, the front suspension had to be checked. All that stuff had to be kind of gone through. And if you did the right inspection, it took at least 45 minutes minimum to inspect a car correctly and everything else too. But you could always tell when someone's trying to slide through that inspection, because they would come in, you could tell the tires weren't the tires on their car and that kind of thing. And they take things off other cars to put on that car to get the inspection to pass and all that kind of stuff. So I hated that part of the inspection side of the coin, because there's nothing as a shop we could do to say,
as long as when you inspected it, it passed.
Yeah,
that was all they needed. Yeah.
I can't remember what it costs now either to have that, what you paid for that inspection on it. And it was a yearly basis that you had to have that thing inspected. And stuff
and you guys actually filed paperwork then with the state?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We actually filled out the form and gave the customer copies of it too. And then we would actually send that to the state to prove that the what we had inspected, what we had done or whatever too.
And I don't know, right now, currently, I don't know how many states have a state inspection. I think I'm pretty sure Texas does. I don't know if that's the closest one to us, but if you have experience with that or whatever, I'd love to hear from you or see what that entailed.
Yeah.
And what, how much that cost and everything like that.
And then you'd get into, I still remember a couple times when I would fail their cars and just get mad at me because I failed it. But it's my word against anybody else. Okay. And in Texas, it's $12.50 a year. Thank you, KR3 Garage. Appreciate that. Telling us from that same point too. So Texas does have an inspection, $12.50 per year. But here's what I will say. Josh, you go back and forth with all this other stuff too. What we pay, in my opinion, what we pay in taxes for our personal property tax on our cars versus what Texas pays, I guarantee it's a lot less.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody complains about taxes and different things. We got to look at the whole gamut of where we're paying, where we're not paying, all that kind of stuff. Well, Texas has cheaper deal, but they pay $12.50 a year. Now, granted, $12.50 doesn't seem like a lot, but now let's take our time and effort and everything else like that to get scheduled in, go to a shop, get it inspected, get the paperwork filed, do all that kind of stuff. It's more than $12.50. That's what you pay cash out of, but your time and money spent to get it done.
Yeah, would be huge.
I would hate to have to. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that the state inspections are that's why I think Kansas got rid of it. It was just so much of a farce that everybody was lying, cheating, and stealing just to get an inspection done, or think about the money paid under the table to get their car inspected.
Yeah, and like you're saying from the consumer side of it, if the vehicle that they're presenting you is not the vehicle that they're driving every day, so if they've altered it or did something to it one way or the other just to get the inspection done, I mean, you're defeating the purpose, I guess, at that point, or vice versa. If you have a shop out there that's just, whipping the inspection or whatever. And then the other side of that is, for the consumer side is that I do feel that there's probably situations where people get in where a shop is just looking to do something and is marking something on an inspection that may not be an extreme immediate need. And that's not necessarily fair to the consumer. So I get it on that side of it too.
Well, I guess back in the days when I was doing those inspections, I got customers telling me, "Oh, you're just trying to sell me something." Because they think, and then we did do a lot of repairs
based on
to fix the car to get it to pass and all that kind of stuff. But that's not how I played the game. I knew what I was looking at. I knew what I needed to do. I knew what my rules were with the inspections and stuff like that too. But I'm sure the state of Kansas just got tired of fighting it and knowing that there was too many lies, cheat, and steals going on to make that inspection get through.
And so from the other side of that is just traveling, done a lot of traveling, around and everything like that. I can't tell you, I'm not saying that I necessarily know what states have state inspections versus states that don't have state inspections, but I can't say that I've seen less vehicles on the side of the road on a state that has a state inspection versus, what I'm saying, as far as from that side of things is, I suppose they're all going to break. But it would be interesting to know statistically that if, accidents are less from unsafe vehicles versus ones that aren't on states that do have that state inspection. So, but I don't know how you'd ever prove that just with number of vehicles in each state and
that's
true documentation on accidents and stuff like that.
Take a lot of studies, time to pay someone to go through and do that study to prove what it was on that standpoint from knowing that. But again, the state inspections, I'm a big negative on them right now. I think that the situation we need to do is we need to rely on take care of their cars and give them inspections like that and that part.
So, and then again, just the money that they would have to spend towards that inspection could go towards a repair or fixing a vehicle as opposed to spending it. Obviously $12.50 is not a huge. But
think about how many they couldn't pass. They could depth filters off the diesel filters.
Yep,
that part. So, 7-3. Love to hear from you with anything, tire batteries, whatever it might be. And looks like we might have a little bit of technical difficulties going on, and looks like we're back up live again. So, sorry about that. We're going to have to get Gus working on our audio feed here of some sort. I think, who knows what's happening. We'll get to figure it out. So sorry about that, but we have Gus check it out for us too. So anyway, back to the state inspections. I mean, that's the other thing. Back in my day was the catalytic converters.
Yeah.
From that part. And Again, people getting mad and everything else like too. But anyway, love to hear from you about state inspections, what you think. 316-462-3673 and get a great price package about over $130 just for calling in.
So now let's roll over here and share this screen.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll go ahead and flip over to this other tab up there. So this here was a vehicle that was in the shop here a couple days ago, and I happened to take some pictures on it. So this is a brand new set of brake pads, and I think if you run that the mouse over here, and then I think they'll see it on the screen. So basically the brake pad, the lining on the back pad, you can see that's brand new.
Yeah, all this lining right here.
Right there is.
So you can see how much gap is right there, how much pad is still there left, okay?
But that's the brake pad portion of the brake, and then also just the thickness of the rotor. So this is a brand new rotor as well. So just how thick that rotor is.
Yep.
Now if you go back and you go to probably picture up at there you go back a picture. This vehicle came in and it came in for a coolant leak. That was the complaint.
Okay.
And this was the brake pad that we pulled off of it. And you can see so that's a new pad right there.
There's your new one. And here's your
to it.
metal to metal.
And that is just metal to metal. Okay.
Yep.
And then you can go back another picture. That's the rotor that came off of it.
Holy smokes, it's almost gone.
The actual face of the rotor is completely missing. Those bumps or ridges there, those are the cooling fins that are in between the faces of the rotors. So air gets in there and can cool that. Then you can go back another picture. There's the top of it.
Wow.
So this thing had a seized up caliper, which then caused it to basically apply it was the passenger rear brake on it, and it stayed on until it just melted down the pad and then melted down the rotor from that side of things.
Holy smokes. So this looks like this was on a 3/4 ton truck.
It was. Yeah, it was on a 3/4 ton truck.
So his stopping distance was really good, wasn't it?
It had to have been. I mean, there's so many warning signs to this, but oblivious, no clue that that was going on or that was an issue. And that's just the pad.
Yeah, the pad itself. Right here is the pad where it's metal to metal. Instead of having any kind of a material there to help stop the car. Just another picture of the rotor.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah. I think the first two were maybe it was on blast on the camera. So, but taking a look at that, that to me is scary for not only the driver of this vehicle, but other motorists on the road. And with it being a 3/4 ton, now you've got a potential of pulling a trailer. Don't know what the weight of the trailer is, anything like that, but. And the vehicle came in for a coolant leak.
Yeah, not even for a brake concern whatsoever.
No.
Yeah. So let's, again, talking about being safe on the road and all that kind of stuff too. Think about this. If he needed to stop quickly, which way is that truck going to go? Because I promise you, if he's under a panic mode, who knows which way that truck's going to jerk, veer, or pull, or do whatever into the next lane, into the side of you, or whatever. So this is crazy. Because you had to have heard the noise. You would think. Yeah. Oh, he had his radio up too loud.
Just the grinding, and here's my thing is that's got to be several thousand miles of driving to
wear that down that bad.
Yeah. From the time that it.
How do you think you'd feel it as you brake too?
Yeah. From the time that it started making noise to that point, I don't know. That's.
That is crazy how much that's worn down. But you can, like you said in that other picture, you can see how thick that one side is. So the other thing is the caliper is. So you said the caliper actually seized up too.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's take that, go a little further. Is what did this cost to repair versus what it cost to repair it if somebody would have said, hey, I'm feeling or hearing a little squeal or noise or grind, and stopped.
Yeah.
At that point, it maybe would have been a set of brake pads, maybe some slide pins on the caliper,
Mm-hmm.
from that point, and maybe machining the rotors and going from there. But you're several hundreds of dollars more into this deal now than what you were just by identifying something going on. And I'm not saying that somebody has to be a technician or mechanically savvy in order to know this is going on, but it's just understanding what the car is saying, or that it's talking to you in some way, shape, or form, and then choosing to do something about it and
Yeah.
not ignore it.
Yeah. That's that the brake pedal had to be vibrating. The noise that coming out of that thing, somehow, shape, or form, we just ignored it as we were driving. And so my next question is going to be, Josh, I don't know if you know this or not, was this a company truck and the guy that was driving it didn't own it? Or do you even know that kind of a
So
situation?
it was a company truck, or it was a business from that side. And we talk about this a lot on on the fleet side, and we've also talked about that as far as the for this very specific reason on the pickup and delivery versus mobile service and stuff like that, is because typically on fleet trucks, those guys drive those trucks until
They break.
they break or they can't, and then they bring them in and they'll do a massive amount of repairs on them to get them kind of up and going, because they don't want the down vehicle. So I think of, going back to a mobile service on this deal. So let's say you got called out for a mobile service, you're not going to have every
You're not fixing
component.
that truck.
You're not going to have every component you need for this customer, from that side of it. But it is crazy.
Yeah, and we've had that discussion on here before about mobile service versus doing them here in the pickup and delivery and that sort of thing too. And yeah, we're going to have us a mobile service van. It's on its way. It's going to be here in June, and we're going to start trying to do a few things with that to try to make a few other situations better. But am I going to try to go out, or I shouldn't say are we going to go out and try to do repairs like this of this brake job out on the parking lot or person's garage or driveway or whatever? No, we're not. I need your vehicle here, and I hope you understand that your vehicle needs to be in this environment with technicians, all the parts we got and everything. It's just like yesterday, Josh. I'm in that warehouse. First thing I thought of, we better call Evans. We need to build on to this, dude. It's getting, and thinking about all the parts we now have to stock and everything else like that, and how you think you can put that on a mobile service van and go out and take care of someone's fleet truck. I don't know, because I can promise you that's a fleet situation, and that's going to happen time and time again, and they're going to drive that truck till it breaks. And you can't fix it out there at the job site. Can it? I guess you could, but then you're going to have all kinds of trips and everything else and parts delivered. And it's just not effective, in my opinion, of doing that from that standpoint either. So just everybody know we're very involved with the pickup and delivery. We'd love to come pick up your vehicle at your house, your work, whatever it might be, bring it in, have it serviced, and then take it back to you. But yeah, we're going to have a mobile service van because Ford's making us. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They're making us have it. Don't like the issue getting that shoved down our throats and everything else from that part, because how well we're doing with pickup and delivery, and to make it more convenient for you to get your car serviced by that standpoint. But we'll do a few things with that mobile service van to try to do some minor stuff and everything else too. So,
hey, let's go to the phones and talk to Delbert. Delbert, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Good morning, and first of all, wow.
Yeah, isn't that something?
God.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is just terrible. I can't, and then when you said it was an employee truck, employee was driving for a business, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. They don't care as much about their vehicles as they do the vehicles that they drive themselves. So,
well, and I don't, I've seen the very similar situations with customers' vehicles too, just independently owned or when you talk about loose steering components or ball joints or stuff like that. We've been in situations where we've had vehicles in here for whatever reason, done a multi-point inspection on them and found something that is, equally as concerning as this, and a consumer just for whatever reason doesn't either have the funds to fix it, or doesn't want to fix it, or doesn't think that that we're telling them the right information. And I have personally towed stuff out of here because I wouldn't let a consumer drive it. I've personally had the dealership pay for the tow to get it from the shop back to the customer's house, just to try to let them know that that's how important that it is, that something like this needs to be addressed on that side of it, and I don't, if somebody doesn't trust us or doesn't think that we're telling them the truth, or, whatever, I want to do whatever I can to help bridge that gap. But at the end of the day, it needs to be fixed, whether it's by me or some other repair shop, just because when they're going down the road, what if my family is in the car next to theirs, or, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I know.
I'm not at that time, or at that point, I'm not concerned about their safety. I'm worried about every other motorist's safety. So,
yeah, getting a lot of comments coming through here too, Josh. Jared texted me, it's how these manufacturers are taking these service intervals and trying to extend them so long. And that's hurts us too. And just like Darren comes up and say, importance of normal maintenance and inspections during oil changes. That's exactly correct. That's why we push the multi-point inspection as hard as we do. And it goes back to my day when I was wrenching with my dad. Every 200 miles, someone would pull in, and we almost did a multi-point inspection because we checked the oil, we checked the radiator, we checked the battery, we aired the tires up. And that was every 200 miles, and probably put a quart of oil in them every 200 miles too, probably.
Yeah.
Now today we're going 5,000 miles. We're not even touching these things. We're more worried about going to the quick trip, getting a drink while gas is getting filled up, than we are worried about how our car is getting inspected. And it is true. And I mean, that's just normal. Again, our cars are so much better than they are years ago. But again, we can't let these things go. But that's the next thing is I'd like to know the last time that truck had been serviced.
Yeah.
That'd be another true thing. They might have went into one of them 10-minute oil places, dropped the oil out of it, put it back in, and off they went. And
yeah, I made that mistake going into one of those 10-minute oil change places once, and I'll never do that again, just because the oil they use is crap, in my opinion.
Well,
But I've always gone to a Ford dealership, and as you guys know, in Oklahoma City, the dealership I used to go to closed, which is probably a good thing, because after getting my car back from you guys 2 weeks ago and driving it back, the engine was so much quieter. So that makes me wonder if that other dealership didn't do what they were supposed to do by putting the MOA in it when I asked them to and all that stuff. So,
yeah,
I'm not saying they didn't, but it just makes you wonder when you have something nice that comes out of it. As far as, when like I said, my engine was quieter for some reason after you guys worked on it, doing oil change and filter and MOA additive. So, that stuff makes a difference.
Yeah,
is where I'm going with that. That MOA is just an amazing product from BG, and that's what I get in my car every time if I can. And yeah, it's a little bit more expensive for your oil change, but
the payoff in the long run pays dividends on that side of the coin.
Yeah, just so y'all know, I drive a lot. I got 86,000 miles on the car already since y'all worked on it the other day. So I put on another 2,000 miles on since you worked on it.
Sure.
And, these things, the things you found that, I kind of suspected were getting weak batteries. Okay, I'm going to put some money away so I can get a battery because they've gone up. They're expensive. So, and brakes bad. Was cheaper than going to my local auto by about $200. So with that, it's like, you wonder why Rock Auto is doing so well. same part number, and it's $200 cheaper, even with shipping.
And what part was that?
Well, I did rotors all 4 and pads all 4. So.
Yep. Anyway, Greg Murray says here too, when he goes 600 miles on a tank of gas, less chances of checking things over too with these big gas tanks we got now. How about that? Well, how long does your gas go on yours?
Good point. Yeah,
Wait.
I hadn't thought of that because some of these cars can go quite a ways on gas now.
Well, and you're probably doing a lot more in town driving and stuff like that too. But how far you typically go on a tank of gas? How many miles?
I get about 380 roughly.
380. Yep. Well, I'm sure Greg.
Yeah.
I think Greg's.
And that can go up and down depending on the weather. If
Yeah.
it's really windy, that's going to go down because this is Oklahoma and the winds are just blowing all the time. So
Yeah. Greg's driving an F-150, so I'm sure he's got the big gas
So-
tank of the 35-gallon gas tanks. What he's got
He's
on
got
his
a
truck to go
power
that far
boost.
too. But
Power boost, didn't he, as well?
yeah. Once he goes that 600 miles, then has to pay that $175 bill.
To fill it
Yeah,
back up.
to fill it back up again. Yeah, I get
Yeah,
that
no
too.
kidding.
I get that too. Yeah. I still remember here a
I'm
couple
sure
years.
he's using premium, right? Right? He's using that premium stuff.
I know,
right?
Greg. Are you using premium, buddy? So anyway,
I would suggest nobody use ethanol-based gasolines, but that's just me.
yeah, yeah. I still remember here a
I
couple
don't
years
put
ago.
'em in.
I was going to go fill up our t-shirt can and gun canisters at a little hobby town kind of a thing or whatever over
There's
here
a
on the
strip
west side
mall on.
over there, and there was I'm not going to give the name there, but there was like a quick lube place setting right there, and there was 6 vehicles setting
he
in
uses
line.
that Sam's Club regular.
Yeah, and I went in to fill those tanks, and when I come back out, all 6 of those cars were gone. Well, they got a quality oil change, didn't they? Just let alone they couldn't even got the oil out of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were all gone. They went through that service and gone. Yeah. So yes, Sam's Club regular for old Greg Murray on his fuel, getting them points, right, Greg?
Yep, got to get them points.
Yep, exactly. So, well, anyway, Delbert, thanks for the call
Well,
as
guys,
always,
thank
buddy.
you guys for taking my call. I'll let somebody else hopefully get in and get some stuff done. But awesome job, you guys. You guys are the best in the business, and I just want everybody to know that. So,
All right, buddy. Really appreciate that. Delbert, have a
you're
great
welcome.
weekend
You
and
guys have a.
drive safe, buddy.
I will. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
All right, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Anything angler, car, tires, brakes, batteries. You want to talk about these service intervals. You want to talk about state inspections, whatever's on your mind. Love to hear from you. So you get that great price back at over $130 for each and every caller. 316-462-3673.
Somebody's got to have a state inspection experience. I'm sure. I'm just sure of it. Good, bad, or any different.
Good,
I
bad, or
would
anything
think.
any different.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So anyway, Josh, that's pretty good information to be giving people to show what this does to their vehicles and stuff and these brakes and everything else too. And I know there's more of these issues that go on every day in our repair center and everything from the quick lane to the main store here on the situations where customers could have saved themselves a lot of money if they just would have let us do that inspection every 5,000 miles. And yes, Jared, I don't like these extended intervals either. It took me forever to get off that 3,000 mile interval for sure.
And I don't. So on the extended intervals portion of it, to go from 3,000 to 5,000, okay, as long as you're not hurting anything and everything's okay, I guess that's great.
Yeah.
It's going to be much better for the EPA, as far as the amount of oil that's used and stuff like that. But then when you stretch that, so you're already, in my mind, you're already stretching it going from the 3 to 5. But then now you have consumers that think, well, 5, I could probably stretch it to 7 or 8.
No problem.
Like where's if everybody's stuck with, the recommended interval, where you at? And then you got, I went the other day, I had to get some changed oil in a mower, and I used Mobile One oil in that. And so I went and picked up some Mobile One, and right on the can, 15,000 miles between oil change intervals. And it's like, how do you, I just can't imagine driving something 15,000 miles and not changing oil on it. Like,
no, I don't
goes
either.
Against every, I mean, it goes against everything
I just look at the expense it costs to keep good, clean oil in your engine and how much longer it's going to lubricate, how much better it's going to lubricate, how it's not going to wear your components out near as fast and everything else like that. And changing that oil by far. I mean, it used to be back, I remember saying this too, Josh, when the full synthetics came out, and they were very expensive at the time. They've kind of come down in price like everything kind of does when they come out. But I was telling everybody, instead of running a full synthetic back then, change your oil every 2,500 miles. It's cheaper than buying the full synthetic, but think about having good, clean oil every 2,500 miles and a new clean filter. How much that would save on wear and tear and everything else on your motors and stuff too. To me, it's huge.
And so, yeah, from the mechanical side of it, but I'm even on the inspection side of it, or the 15,000 miles between even.
The front tires aren't wore off
at
all either, are they? In 15,000, they don't need rotated or anything else like
so
that.
Just the other day, we looked at a 21,000 mile vehicle, and the front tire on the passenger side, I should have got pictures of that now that I think about it, but the toe was off on it and it just chewed through the right front tire. All the other ones were at 8, and the right front, the outer edge of it was
gone.
Just
air it up a little bit so it doesn't ride on that side of the tire, Josh. It'll wear a little longer. Right?
Yeah. So it's think of somebody in that situation, you change oil on it and send it out for 15,000 miles, and you're going to have a blowout. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So no doubt about that a bit.
We've got another caller here coming through. We'll get the caller patched through as well. Curious to see if what they got on any information on state inspections or not. So we'll get them patched through.
Well, call's coming in.
Yeah,
I got another little text coming in from Jared here. We'll comment on that here in a minute.
Let's go to visit. Yeah, let's go to the phones. Talk to Tim. Tim, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Hey, morning, Phil. Morning, Josh. How are you guys?
Timothy, pretty good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Hey, just want to throw this out for a little conversation. Being from Virginia, we have a required vehicle inspection every 12 months. You take it into a state-approved garage, and they go through the vehicle, check tires, brakes, everything. And if it passes, you get a rejection. If it fails, you get a rejection sticker. You got like 7 days or whatever to get it fixed. And if you don't get it inspected, it's a moving violation. I just thought, based on what you see on the road in Kansas, sometimes it makes a difference, safety of the vehicles and the safety of other people on the road, like you were talking about. And just thought I'd throw that out there for a little conversation, see what you think.
So anyway, Virginia, what do they charge for that inspection? Do you know, Tim?
I think it used to be $12. I think it's up around $20 now for them to go through and inspect it, providing nothing's wrong.
Do you remember as far as like the number of facilities that were able to do that? Was it pretty prevalent to find available facilities to make that happen, or?
Yes, and they're inspected regularly by Virginia State Police to make sure that they, keep all the logs and stuff that they're supposed to keep. And there are plenty of garages there because every car has to have it done.
Yeah.
So about every shop had a capability of doing the inspection. Well, you sure wouldn't want to drive around with that
Correct.
sticker on the defective sticker running around very long, would you?
No, because it shows up pretty good on your windshield when it's on there.
Yeah, I bet so too. So, that's the thing is, like I was telling earlier in the show, Tim, I'm a fan of the inspections, but the problem I had when I was doing it back in the day, people just lie, cheat, and steal to get them to pass or whatever, and everything else from that part too. So maybe it's not near as prevalent as it was back then. But yeah, I could see a car roll in with a different set of tires on it. That it was not on that car from when he's normally driving it and all that kind of stuff too. So it's just kind of crazy. And of course, the next thing is what's all inspected in that inspection too. From that part, what's on that checklist, I guess, is another issue. What would be there?
They went through windshield crack, stuff like that, headlight alignments, brakes, tires, tread wear.
What about
all your life?
What about age of the vehicle? Is that a thing that could pass or not pass?
No. You get a 1-year pass, I think, on a brand new car.
Yeah.
Oh.
It gets an automatic 1-year pass because they figure everything is working correctly and should work for a year on a new car.
Yep.
After it's a year old, it has to be inspected. It used to be every 6 months.
Wow.
Okay, so what I was meaning about could a car be 25 years old and still go okay? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Do they have a year?
Basically, where
No,
they
if it
stop them,
passes and it's safe to be on the road,
Okay.
you know, it gets a stick.
yeah.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. You go travel different places and stuff, and ride those taxi cabs. You see the miles that's on those taxi cabs and stuff like that too. It's crazy how many miles are on those cars. But there's a couple states I've been in that they say they get so old they can't be classified as a taxi cab anymore. That's why I was curious if they had that in Virginia or not.
No, but you know, as long as the ball joints and the brakes and everything, tires are good, you can keep driving it. But it
Keep
makes
rolling.
you fix something that's wrong, and it also keeps a lot of unsafe vehicles like the one you just showed from being on the highway.
Yeah. So what's your would you consider to be in favor of or not on a state inspection?
Well, I tell you, it was a pain to make sure you got
Yeah.
it in when you needed to get it inspected. But, you know, if that was something like we had that in Kansas and you guys, of course, would be in the approved garage or whatever to do it, it'd just be part of my service interval. I'd
Yeah.
make sure that, you know, my service was scheduled around that. And I know it'd be taken care of. I already know my vehicle's, you know, inspected when it comes to Mel Hambelton Ford. And when I get it back, I know I got all the updates and it's safe, and I feel good about traveling in it. So yeah, it's going to be the people that don't service their vehicles and you know, don't want to take care of them. They're going to be the ones that's going to probably balk at it, but it's for the good of every driver.
Sure. And you know, that's the other side of it. I would hate to have that be a mandate in Kansas just for, you know, the consumer inconvenience and stuff like that, especially if somebody is doing routine service and you know, taking, because that's you're penalizing somebody like that when you're really trying to ensure that somebody that doesn't take the time to do it does it, you know. And so uh, and at the end of that, that same person, I believe, is going to turn around and find ways to cheat the system, you know, at the end of the day. And so I don't know is that you would gain, you know, a less cars off the road that were unsafe in any way, shape, or form. So,
Well,
Yeah.
you know, that's possible, but on the other side of it, if that guy had bought that truck in when he started to see a warning in the back of it, he could have probably just had a brake pad job and not had to go into the expense of a rotor and everything else involved with it. It could actually save people money if they knew something
Certainly.
was wrong or not to be wrong.
Yep, I agree with that 1,000%. We spent in this particular situation, you know, I don't know exactly what the total bill with it for this thing was, but there's several $100s of here that were spent for fixing this deal that could have went or been applied to fixing other areas of the car, or you know, back in your pocket, which to me seems crazy, you know.
Exactly. So, you know, it's got its pros and cons, but I do think it gets a lot of. I mean, a state trooper in Virginia can pull you over, and if he sees something defective on your car, he can issue a citation that, well, not necessarily a citation, but it's a thing that makes you take it to an inspection station and have it fully inspected.
Now, I kind of like that situation. I wish that might be something we'd have here in the state of Kansas. If you got pulled over, if he saw you driving down a highway and, you know, that sort of thing. I mean, I've seen cars driving down the highway, the tires are bouncing all over because the shocks are so bad and everything else like that too, that an officer could see that and pull you over and give you fix it, repair kind of a deal, fix it, ticket or whatever from that part too. I would love to see that part because that would save a lot of issues too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a tin cost you anything. It's for saying that this vehicle is now to go into an inspection station and be checked out.
What's going on wrong with it or whatever. Yep. I agree 100%.
Yeah, it could be for ball tires.
Yeah. Or it could be for drag slicks.
In your case, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, good comments, Tim. I really agree with you 100% on some of the stuff. I wish we kind of had some laws like Virginia did to kind of do some of that stuff just to keep everybody safe on the highway. Because, man, it doesn't take it much anymore for a wreck to happen and people get hurt and stuff like that too for not maintaining your cars like you need to.
Exactly.
Greatly appreciate
All right.
the feedback and the conversation for sure.
All right. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.
Tim, thanks, buddy. Talk to you soon, buddy.
All right.
All right, just a few minutes left on the show. Might have time for one more caller here coming up from the situation of all the stuff. You got any more questions or comments on the state inspections or vehicle safety manners or everything else like that too? So
you said Jared was on there?
Well, he's sending me a deal about 25,000 miles on a gasoline engine service, up to 25,000 miles, normal service. Severe service up to 15,000 miles.
So
I'm trying to figure out what motor or whatever that's from that he's sending me.
If he's still listening, you'll have to ask him.
I see already. Now I get it. It's AMSOIL.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so AMSOIL is telling you put their oil in your car, you can go 25,000 miles in a normal service.
That's
severe
crazy.
service up to 15,000 miles. How about that?
Yeah.
Everybody, what I'm going to tell you is there are great oils out there. Yes, there are. And do they maintain and lubricate your engine or whatever but the problem you got is the filters can't filter the oil. Your engine's still going to develop carbon. It's still going to wear particles. It can't happen. Putting a full synthetic oil in your motor is just better protecting it. It is not extending the service intervals. Promise you, don't do it. You're costing yourself. You're going to spend so much more money for this oil that they think you can go 15,000 miles. Can't happen. Promise you, can't happen. You keep doing that stuff, I promise you, that wear and tear is so bad. That filter is going to be plugged up before 15,000 miles. So bad that it can't filter that oil and everything else too. So now I see what Jared's sending me. So Jared, thanks for sending that to us and stuff too. But just remember that, everybody. Two things. One, the manual in your car, the maintenance schedule is the minimum that you need to do. Minimum, not the maximum or exactly what you need to do. That's the minimum you need to do to your car to maintain it. And number two, when you put full synthetics in it, that does not extend your service intervals. It doesn't do it. It can't happen from that part. False side. Yeah, Jared. And now I understand what you're saying. I agree with you 100%. Can't happen. Doesn't happen. If you want to do it, go ahead. You're just going to cost yourself a lot more. Kind of like that old Fram commercial. Pay me now, pay me later. Kind of like that brake guy did.
Yeah.
So he paid for 4 brake jobs. There is what he did.
Yeah. All in one.
Yeah. But I am a big fan of full synthetics because most of your engine wear happens when the engine starts up cold, and full synthetics move so much faster than a multi-blend or even a conventional oils from that part. So I get that part of the deal. But again, it does not extend the service interval. It does not. And here's another thing. Let's go. Rex just brought up another good point. What about air filters?
Yeah.
Think about how much air goes through that air filter into that engine. I don't know that stat. I used to know that stat on the top of my head.
For 1 gallon of gas, I mean, it's a shit ton of air.
Yeah, it's so much air going through there. Okay, we change the air filter every 2,500 miles. Yeah, and I agree. Depends on the conditions you're in and everything else like that too. It's 2,500 miles in your in dusty condition. I get it. Think about that a minute. If you don't have a good clean air filter, what's that doing to you?
Going down dirt roads or, just Kansas in general between dust and debris and cotton and everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, anyway, we're running out of time, everybody. I really greatly appreciate all the comments and stuff. Josh, thanks for sending those brake deals.
Yeah.
We're going to try to have a weekly deal about that.
Yeah, I've got
that part.
I've already summons the techs and stuff like that on when they see something like that to
holler at you so you can get it in there and go
get something in there and be able to share more information like that for sure.
So anyway, hey gentlemen, everybody listening, we were going to have a special deal of going out to the Mel Hambelton Auto Spa and having those guys work in the background and also get Calvin on the air with us and show what's going on in our new Mel Hambelton Auto. I keep wanting to call it the detail shop, but it's Mel Hambelton Auto Spa. But I was supposed to be racing in Hayes, and I wanted to be here for that. I didn't want to be in the split screen and not be in Hayes, so I told Caleb and Calvin we would do it next week. So next week we will be live out in the Mel Hambelton Auto Spa, and we will do some paint correction. We'll show some paint film
installation
of that kind of thing going on from that part too. So stay tuned next week for exciting stuff. Hopefully Josh has some more good pictures of things that cost people lots of money that shouldn't have cost them a lot of money by just doing regular maintenance on your cars and stuff like that too. And I get these things. These cars are so much better than they were years ago. They can run a lot longer and everything else like that, but we have to maintain them differently than what we did 15, 20, and 30 years ago on these cars from that standpoint too. So anyway, real quick, Josh, as always, we're kind of lacking on helping our sponsors out. And, BG Products, again, everything we talk about here, maintaining your car, those guys have got the best products out there for your car to maintain them, make them run many, many more miles, make these fluid levels in there last so much longer from that part. So when you're coming in for here, we have every available BG product here to take care of you, but I got a great partnership with those guys. Love their R&D just right down the road here from us. It's fun to go down there and see those guys, what they're testing and everything else too. Go to rent. Hey, if you're looking for a rental car, we're finally getting Stan's fleet built back up again, but 12, 15 passenger van or expeditions, Explorers, whatever you might need to get on a little trip, don't want to put the miles in your car, whatever. Stan's got a great fleet of vehicles finally again. So give Stan a call right inside here at Go To Rent. Big Corner Creative for all your advertising needs. If you've got a company, needs some help, you need a web page design, whatever it might be to advertise your company or your personal business, whatever you might have. Jesse's got a great crew down there. It can help you with Google, traditional, race car wraps, window wraps, tint, anything else from that part. So everybody have a great weekend. Hope it'll warm up a little bit, and everybody stay tuned for next week. We'll be out at the Mel Hambelton Auto Spa, and we'll show you some paint correction and some paint protection film being installed and everything else that we're going to be doing out there in that new building. So everybody have a safe Saturday, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.